Welcome back to the Millennial Classics, y'all. My name is Q. I'm here with Burry, your two usuals, but we're doing something unusual. We're doing something new. Exactly. My Burry, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited.
Well, good. I'm happy that you're excited because in our introduction, and I'll remind you guys, on this podcast, we talk about the best and most memorable movies, music, and culture, ladies and gentlemen, culture-changing events of our generation, but we have yet to do a podcast. Yes, if you guys are true Millennial Classics fans, you have heard our 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying pod and or our Kanye West our Kanye West podcast. But we have yet to do a cultural event podcast. This is Mumbury and I's. This is the Millennials, like first time and first attempt on talking about the current events, the cultural events that mean something to millennials. So bear with us, join us on this journey, and then let us know how you feel about this in the comment section below. Mumbury, we're talking about the cultural events. The only
cultural events and current events. So let's say the date. It's September 21st, 2023. A lot of shit that's happened in the landscape for the last month and a half, where I try to stay out of the politics. I'm not trying to be like Hunter Biden.
Ditto. No politics here. At least not today.
Although honestly, we got this is not an event. The Donald Trump mugshot.
Oh yeah.
That's like a where were you though? Where were you moment?
When you first saw it?
Fucking crazy. That shit is sick. Honestly, sick. It's honestly the type of shit that like if Obama could do it, he would.
Of course.
But then that would just be a black dude in jail. But if it's like a country club dude in jail, then it's like, I'm not about this life. I'm just here for fun.
I'm here for the pics. I'm here for the gram. That's what Trump was doing in that. And like,
just rolled up to Fulton County, rolled out of there. Dude, showing up to fucking, you're getting your pics taken with Secret Service, like
the whole different.
That's insane.
Yeah. You got cops talking to the Secret Service. It's like, which one of us?
Don't touch him. Don't touch him. Crazy.
No, but like, and see, that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why we have to add the cultural events, the cultural moments into this podcast, into this thing that we're trying to build. We can't tell you that we're a voice of and for the millennials, by millennials, without talking about the things outside of movies, outside of music. These are the things that happen in our day-to-day. And in a social media world where everyone finds out about everything 24/7, Mumbury and I did have this talk, and we said maybe we should do this once a month. And that's probably where we'll start, doing this once a month, where we try to recap the big hits. And I love the fact that you started it out there. And I'm not going into politics. I don't intend to go into politics, but that was a dope fucking photo shoot. Like it's coming out as a photo shoot, but it was a mugshot. Like,
mugshot. Like, but honestly, it's a campaign.
Can I ask you a conspiratorial question? Do you think he had multiple shots and he's like, that's the one? Or do you think that's honestly, just Donald Trump?
Here's the beauty of it. It's a mugshot. It's sick regardless. Mugshots have always been like for clout, always been amazing. And here's the best part. It's he's always been the like, I'm doing the Trump bullshit, but he's always been the anti-establishment shit. It literally just fits his fucking brand like a glove. And it's literally just, he just can be like, yo, they're trying to lock me up.
Exactly.
They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Here's a mugshot. like merch hasn't popped this hard since Yeezy merch. Do you remember when Yeezy merch? I remember going to a Kanye concert and I bought merch going in. And when I was fucking rocking it going out, people were trying to pay me like 3 times the price going out.
That's amazing. Yeah, no,
like that's this type of merch, like merch 100%. blowing through like that, and you get that when it's organic.
But the thing thing also is, Mumbury, Donald Trump was like the merch king since the red hat. Like, I mean, he is that guy.
So is Kanye. So is Kanye.
So is Kanye. Anyways, this is welcome to the Millennial Classics cultural events. That was a perfect intro to exactly what I'm looking for.
Just before we dig deep, I just got a quick question for you. I mean, because I lightly mentioned Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you real quick: how much would it cost you? Like, what's the minimum paying job you would get? Move to Ukraine right now.
The
Kiev.
minimum. Kiev. You're in
Kiev right now. You're in Kiev.
Like, unless you're paying me $500,000.
12 months. 12 months you're in Kiev.
Yeah, unless you're paying me $500,000, I'm not going there. And you have to guarantee I obviously have Secret Service. I'm like a diplomat. I'm over there for America's best. No, like that's I'm willing to die, bro.
Putin's not gonna good. It's a fucking capital,
bro. Listen, get the fuck out of here. Putin killed that dude out of a plane last week.
$250K right now, $250K signing bonus, and then you make $100K for 6 months. And then you make another $50K when you leave. You're not taking that. You're taking that. You're not a dumbass. You're taking that right now. You're taking that right now.
I would have to know the details. If it's like I'm delivering stuff to the front line, fuck off.
You're in Kiev. You're just chilling. You got Netflix. I don't know how good Ukrainian Netflix is. I actually have no clue how good Ukrainian Netflix is, so I can't make promises. But you got Netflix. You're chilling. There might be some bombs going off.
Yeah, but thanks, but no thanks. Listen. I got way too much to lose. That is never going to happen. Like anything under 500K, there's no way. There's just no way. Okay. And you pay for my living, you pay for everything. That 500 is going in my pocket. I'm not paying for a single expense. You're paying for my food, my shits, the fucking flushable wipes I need.
I mean, we know we ain't paying for Rogaine. We know that.
When I'm in Kiev, Rogaine's the last thing I'm worried about, nigga. I'll have a helmet on the entire time I'm out there.
Yeah, you see Rogaine on your doorstep, you're like, yo, that's Putin. Putin put that shit right there.
Got some toxins in it. That'll fuck me up.
All right, you want to get started?
I do want to get started, but ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, we have done so fantastic on YouTube recently. We are nearly getting to 10,000 subscribers, which is an insane thing for me to say. But our podcast is not growing at the same rate. For everybody who has watched, for everybody who has joined us, for all of the millennials who are enjoying our videos, please jump over to the podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts, and definitely subscribe. Reason being, when you out on your run, when you're during your drive, when you're at the fucking supermarket and you're not looking at your screen watching us on YouTube, you can pop us in your ears and listen to the podcast. Please, 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 anywhere you listen to podcasts, definitely subscribe to the Millennial Classics podcast. It's the same name, same title, nothing's different. And it's just another way for you guys to join us in this thing that we're trying to do. Mumburi, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first. I'll go second.
Okay. So Mumburi, this is just like, I have to talk about it because I have to talk about it. The new iPhone. So this is the iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Pro that just dropped. And every single thing, I don't know if you watch reviews. I don't know if you look at these things and like,
I watched all those videos.
So like you understand, like, are you going to upgrade? That's the only reason I ever watched the iPhone. First and foremost, the first question I want to ask you about this topic is, what iPhone do you currently have?
I got the 13 Pro, but I got it in fucking green. And this is my favorite color ever that I've ever seen in an iPhone. It's dark green, emerald almost. And it's honestly, it's my favorite color. And I've replaced this phone 3 times, but I get the same color every time. And I'm not switching until there's another great color.
Okay.
Because I'm just, honestly, for me, the iPhones don't really change that much year over year at all. We're at that point in the iPhone where it's like, let me just say this. When I was a kid, it was like, yo, the 3G, and the 3GS, then the 4, and it was like, what? And then the 4S,
yep,
had Siri.
Yeah,
what the fuck? And you were in school, and someone was like, "Hey Siri,
hey,
give me pi 10 digits," and it was like, yeah. Honestly, we don't have innovations like that anymore.
Now I love like, how you didn't even attempt to say pi.
3.1415. Yo.
Hey, that's my guy. That's my guy.
But now it's like, yo, we changed the metal. That's what we did.
Yeah.
On this one, you're gonna pay $100 more, and we changed the fucking metal.
Yeah,
and it's
crazy.
like, all right, guy. I'm like, all right, I'm sure the new metal's great, but my phone is literally still just as fast. I can get a battery replacement for $30. What are we talking about here?
And this is exactly what I want. Why I wanted to ask you, because like innovation is fantastic, right? And it's great, and it's so cool. And these tech companies, they represent themselves as like the forefront of like technology. They represent themselves as the forefront of innovation. And when it's impossible, and I don't know, like I have no idea. I'm a fucking dumbass. I don't know what innovation means when it comes to iPhones. But every single year they're talking about 30% faster, 50% faster, 70% faster. And maybe if I got an iPhone, like 5 or 8, I'd try to use it and be like, this is impossible to use based on my current standards. But you're right. Right now, it seems like, oh, the metal's a little cooler. It looks a little nicer. I don't know what the numbers are when it comes to the sales of these iPhones, but you have to assume it's going to start to drop, right?
No,
there's no way. You don't think so?
If you actually go, here's a crazy thing about Apple, and here's the best. It's not going to drop. Here's a. Well, first off, this one has USB-C, so there's going to be a lot of people that are just like,
yes.
Fuck it, I want USB-C. Like I have 6 other devices that have USB-C. It's the only Lightning cable I have. I'm just gonna fucking buy it. There's going to be other people, this is the beauty of Apple because of its place in the market, is it just has Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T just come around and they're like, we'll give you fucking $800 for your piece of shit phone. We're gonna give you an iPhone 15, and you're gonna sign a 3-year contract. And people just don't blink. They just take that shit and run. And that's the beauty of it. It's an institution already, and it's like no one's doing that for the Huawei's and the OnePluses and any of those other bullshit phones.
It's just like it's like only your brother that's doing it for the what's it called? The Samsung,
the Pixels and Samsung. Listen, I've had all them shits. I've had a Pixel, I've had a Samsung.
But you keep coming back.
And if you're talking about technology and innovation, it's over there because the folding phone shit is so sick. It's mad. It's what they're doing over there. It's really fucking cool. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, I just want to fucking be able to send a quick message, iMessage. I want to see all this shit. I want updates for 4 years. If I keep this phone for 4 years, I want to be able to know that I can just keep updating it and not have to worry about shit.
But can I the other thing that I know about, just like, I feel like, you and I, we're like legitimate adults now, right? Because when I was younger, I didn't even care that much about how much better it truly was. Having the new edition was the thing, right? And there's always teenagers, and there's always young adults, and there's always young adults that just got a new job that now thinks that a 3-year contract at $150 a month is a great deal. So I really do feel like they have their customer base built in, but like, it is just crazy to think. And I just want to like ponder on this right before we move on to the next topic. The idea that Apple has been around for so this is the 15th edition of the iPhone, but there was a couple of years where it was like 1 year was the iPhone and the next year was the iPhone Pro. When did they start putting them together? Do you know?
No.
Go ahead.
So there was 1 year where it was like S and then regular, and then S and then regular. Pro, when they split the pros and the regular, that was just to keep the high end, to get the high end market with the pros, and then keep the regular $700. It's bullshit though, because some of those phones they're almost exactly identical. It's just they don't have a high refresh rate screen, and then don't have an extra camera. Like that's the main difference between the pros and then the non-pros. But at this point, it's to the point where Apple knows that we can charge $1,000 for the phone because most customers aren't going to pay $1,000 when they go to the fucking Apple store or when they go to their carrier. They're gonna pay. It's honestly so crazy because do you remember when you were a kid It was like $200 was a lot of money for a phone.
It's insane. It's
two
just
hundred dollars was a
insane.
lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now they've gotten it to the point where it's like, and it's not just them because Samsung is selling their fucking Z Flip Fold phones for like $1,800
No,
without.
but like, listen, why am I defending a fucking computer company that is worth $3 trillion? But like, you have to think, when the phone was $200, it was a phone. You dialed someone, you called someone. Maybe it was $250 when
That's
you
their
texted
argument.
someone. Yeah, no, but it's a real argument, Mumbury.
No, I agree.
I'm telling you, I don't use my Canon DSLR camera that I bought for $450, right? I don't use that because I use my iPhone camera.
I agree.
Like
and,
that's
and
my
here's
point.
the thing:
So,
the Canon will take better photos, but you're not going to carry it around with you.
who's the fuck gonna carry a Canon with them? But I just wanted to. This is what I wanted to end on this subject is the iPhone has been with us for 16 years, ladies and gentlemen. It came out July of 2007. If this is not a millennial technology, I don't know what is, but we have grown up with iPhones being a part of not just the culture, but being a part of us, like us. You carry this shit with you 24/7. I don't know what the breakdown is, but in my head, I feel like most millennials, most people probably have iPhones, but most millennials do. This has to be like just not just culture about us. This is just who we are, and iPhones are just grew up with us. It is a piece of technology that is just a part of our lives every single day.
Yeah,
but that's how I wanted to start with it.
Yeah, and I honestly think they know that they can charge way more. Here's the crazy thing: is it's like if you were asked right now, how much would you pay per day for your iPhone? Like, would you pay $2 a day for your iPhone? $2 a day,
probably. I mean, I buy a coffee for $2.50.
$2 a day every day for the next year, and you get the brand new iPhone. Would you do that?
I can't lie to you. Yes, right. Yes. The answer is yes.
And that's $700 right there.
Boom. Oh, yeah, you're right.
So then you keep that phone for 2 years, that's $1,400. They're charging you $1,000 for your new phone.
So they know. They know. Yeah,
they know because it's at the end of the day, you use it every day. You use it for everything. The more apps and the more fucking systems get intertwined, and you get smart homes and AI and all this shit, and it's all connected to your phone. It's literally the more important that phone becomes to you.
100%. I've heard this said by many people, like Marques Brownlee. If you've seen any of his podcast, Waveform, they talk about, like, they go in a little bit of in depth. They say that the AirPod Pros, if they were their own company, they would be in the Forbes top 25. AirPods Pro, the fucking headphones, the headphones.
I don't know
why. Of course, but like you have to think about that. Like, Apple is so fucking huge that if their AirPods were its own company, it would be in the top 25. That blows my mind, Mumbury.
Yeah, but it also makes
the ecosystem thing that you're talking about is so true. I also tried a Samsung. I know it was like basically a year and a half where I tried a Samsung before I got this. It was two iPhones prior, but I tried it. And the second I bought my MacBook, I was like, I can't ever go back. I mean, I can't ever not have an iPhone, because that ecosystem thing kind of locks
you get you're
yeah.
fucking typing on your MacBook and you get a text message and you just look at it.
Yeah, it locks you in, and it's so hard to come out.
Honestly, that one you can kind of break because it's not that big of a deal. The AirPods are so fucking convenient, and the way they do it, but it honestly, it makes you wonder, like, what the fuck Bose is doing, because it's not like Bose can't like do the same shit. It like it won't pop up when you take it, but like the fact that everyone else was sleeping and they just were like, yo, we're just doing AirPods, and the first ones didn't sound good, but they were so convenient. And by the time they sound good, it's too late. That's the thing. So
yeah, I think it's not that they can't do it. It's Apple's like, we're not gonna let you do it. This is
but they could have done that shit.
What do you mean? But they could have, even if they could have, right? Apple on their next iPhone, the iPhone they came out with an ear wireless headphones, they're gonna be like, on this iPhone, you can only connect with the automatically. You can only. They would have switched it to the point where getting our version of Bose's headphones is going to be the more convenient, because that's the like. Mumbury, I think the thing Apple understands that most of these companies don't, because having a Samsung phone, when you talk about the tech being at like the edge of like, innovation, probably. But the thing Apple understands is everyone will pay a premium for convenience. If it's convenient, fuck all of the extra cool tech. I just like the convenience of it, so I'm going to pay a little bit more, and then it's just sleek, smooth, and simple. Like that's
Right.
they're so good at that. They're so good at that. But Mumbury, we got to move on. Talk to me about what you want to talk to me.
I took this as I was going to talk Millennial Classics. We talk about movies and TV and a lot, and I wanted to bring up the SAG WGA strike.
Yes, good for you.
Because it's a big deal, and they're striking about both. That's two separate entities striking against basically the movie lobby body, and they but both want different things. They both kind of want the same things. They want royalty rights for streaming and making sure that AI isn't going to take their work.
Fuck everybody,
and
in
make
the
sure
business.
that writers' rooms aren't being fucking decimated and they're fully staffed and that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to bring it up now because I went to go see a movie called A Haunting in Venice. And it's the third movie of the Poirot remakes made by Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, that's like the Glass Onion, but like the worst
OG
version.
ones. So Glass Onion is kind of doing a fucking twist and remake on the Poirot films, but those are all Agatha Christie novels. And Poirot's the Agatha Christie guy. And Murder on the Orient Express came out in 2017.
I really didn't like that, bro.
And then Death of the Nile.
No. Death of the Nile is the one I didn't like. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Death of the Nile was trash. That honestly was trash.
Death of the Nile I did not like.
That was the movie where I was like, honestly, Gal Gadot proves that if you want to be I'm not talking about Swardick. I'm talking about the person listening right now. If you want to be an actor or actress, you can do it. You have the talent, you have the skill. If you have the determination, you can do it. Because Gal Gadot in that movie literally felt like she won. What are those fucking prizes that you win when you donate $1 and then you have a chance to win a prize? It's like that. It felt like she won a chance to win a prize of being a star in a movie.
Are you talking about one of those cancer kids that wins an opportunity?
Nah, I'm not talking about Make-A-Wish, but honestly, that's how the acting was.
Yeah, no, Mumbury's lying to you. First of all, yeah, obviously you have an opportunity, but you also have to be the fucking best looking person in your state. Yeah, not your county, not your school, not your fucking city, in the state. If you're the best looking person in the state, maybe. But I'm sorry for cutting you off. Yeah, go ahead.
So, and then there were the older movies.
But tell me about this third movie. You just went to the movie theater. I cut you off.
So I was like, I liked the first one, didn't like the second one. But I'm always down for a murder mystery, and I'm always down when it takes place in a remote location and it seems like a good time. I go to see it. It's opening weekend. It's me and one other person, old white dude.
Damn.
And I'm thinking, holy shit, this is fucking crazy. And then I check back, and it's like I remember the SAG strikes. You can't promote any movies. So none of the actors can go on talk shows, which aren't even running anymore. None of the actors can go on the
unless
YouTube
you're Drew Barrymore. Well, we'll talk about it. Yep.
You can't promote them anymore. So now it's one of those things where it's like there's no promotion.
Yeah, it's based on poster alone or the actors in the movie.
And it's based on people just knowing about the movie from the trailers you showed 6 months ago or 3 months ago.
And not everyone like you and I do a fucking movie podcast weekly.
Right.
So it's
and then it was one of those things where you look back and that weekend was one of the lowest if it was not the lowest, it was like bottom 3 lowest weekends of the year.
But wasn't that also like I know a little bit about this, but wasn't that also the Equalizer weekend? And didn't Equalizer do decent?
Equalizer came out 2 weeks ago, and
And
Equalizer
this,
did great.
yeah,
Dropped
right.
hard the second weekend, but
And that's
Equalizer is
okay.
Denzel. That's a
Exactly,
big main
exactly.
difference. And here's the other thing: Zendaya moved her tennis movie out of this weekend. This weekend coming up, and Dune has been pushed back, and so many movies have been pushed back because they can't promote them. That now it's to the point where Taylor Swift has a live movie concert that's gonna probably fucking make $100 million, right? And then all these movies, like my brother is gonna go see The Matrix next weekend because they're bringing back all these movies because there's no new movies. The Dark Knight's been playing locally for a week now,
Yeah,
and that's where we're at. So it's this strike. It seems so small in the beginning, but it's slowly spreading to the point where it's now affecting everyone.
everyone.
And I'm pro strike. If you feel like you have to strike,
Then you
it's
have to do what
probably
you have to do.
you
Yeah.
got to do what you got to do. But I just wanted to bring attention to it because I just
Can
went to
I?
go see a
No,
movie in
no,
opening weekend,
Mumbury.
and there were two people.
No, no, you're not. This is like I almost feel embarrassed that we've done probably 3 or 4 podcasts up until this point, right? And I know when we get into a podcast, it's a very focused thing. We're talking about a very specific thing, but we are a movie podcast, and this is the first time we're talking about it. So, first of all, thank you for bringing it up because I'm embarrassed so much so that we're talking about cultural events and it's actually not on my list, right? So, first and foremost, thank you for bringing it up. And second of all, without these folks, without these writers, without these actors, what we do is not possible, first and foremost. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I have to push you a little bit more because on my list of things, and we can mend these two things together, I have AI and ChatGPT, but mainly AI because there was these AI robots that were their version of promoting the John David Washington movie. The AI robots were at
The creator.
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna go see
creator.
it. I'm gonna go see it next weekend.
Exactly.
I'm
So,
excited.
but do you know what I'm talking about? Those AI robots
Yeah.
that were in the. So before we actually talk about those AI robots, because I really thought those were actors pretending to be in AI suits, but when you look it up, they're fucking real. Like, bro, it's just insane. But before we talk about those robots, how do you feel about the fact that AI could be coming up with these stories? AI could be taking over the writer's room. AI could be doing a lot of these writers' works, the production work, even like some of I don't know how far this can go, but everyone's talking about how intensely hard and the VFX works is, and the little that I know is AI is not yet able to do a lot of the VFX work, but it's right there. So like
No, so
5 years
those are two
from now,
different things.
okay. But just talk to me how you feel about that because I can't lie
So
to you, Mumbury. I use AI when I'm making the thumbnails for our videos. So how can I point the finger as a and I'm just a nobody. Why wouldn't they do it and save $10 million per movie?
So there's two different things. I think for the VFX and the general animation and that kind of stuff, I think the AI we're looking at there would be more to aid the actual artist in what they're trying to do. So
Gotcha.
instead of using 100 artists, it's essentially like the robot at the GM plant
Gotcha.
that
Doing like the 15
instead
different
of
screws, and then you
right
do
instead
the
of spending 10 guys fucking just manually screwing shit in just repetitively, the guy can be like, I have a vision in my head of what I want to make, and this is exactly what I want.
yeah.
And he can tweak it and tweak it and tweak it, and it's still a human process being done. And here's this is key. At that plant at GM in Detroit, there's still a human that has to design it. And that's the key part. The nuts and bolts and the actual manufacturing and the actual, oh, we need a fucking like 10 guys to make sure the fur looks good on Chewbacca throughout the entire
Yes,
movie.
yes,
Like if
yes.
you can cut that down to 3, that's just honestly, it sucks that we're cutting it down to 3, but that's the price of progress.
That is.
Like
It's the
regular,
truth. Yes.
like,
but for everybody, not just acting. Yeah.
Designing the character and designing the new monsters and all that stuff
That's
shouldn't
human.
be AI.
Okay.
That should be a human thing. Writing, this is the bullshit about it, because at the end of the day, AI is taking everyone's screenplay. It's taking Steven Soderbergh, Aaron Sorkin. It's taking the Coen brothers. It's taking everyone's screenplay.
Can I say this? No, go ahead. Finish. Sorry. Go ahead.
And then it's just jumbling them all up. It's saying, we're going to fucking you want a heist movie? Well, we'll take the screenplay from Ocean's 11. We'll take the screenplay from Heist. We'll take the screenplay from fucking
Fast Five.
Fast Five. Everything that got above 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, we're going to take all the screenplays. And then you're going to tell us we want it to be in Milan and we want it to be in Rome and Nairobi. And then we're just going to build a movie from there. And we'll fucking make it with the lowest common denominator, and we'll make sure it's a fun time. Yeah. And then when you build screenplays like that, what it's doing is you're just stealing work, essentially. And at that point, people should get paid, because essentially what you're doing is you're using the algorithm, but the algorithm's dog shit without the information it uses. And that's the key to AI. People always say like, oh, ChatGPT is sick. But what they don't tell you is the algorithm ends in 2019. Right?
So it has nothing current. Yeah. No, 100%.
So, or whatever, 2021 or whatever whenever the date is that they get the data from. It's a fixed data set, and it's only as good as the data set it gets. So it only works because the screenwriters did their work.
Okay. Mumburi, like, listen, I have to push a little bit harder.
All right,
because the obvious answer is, like, when you do read the thing on ChatGPT, is like, as of now, we are only up to 2021. It is a language learning, whatever. And listen, you guys listening, I'm gonna say it again and 100 times over. I'm a dumbass. I know nothing. But the implication is, at some point, this is going to be up to date. Or at the very least, it's going to be like, we're 3 months behind. We don't know what the fucking current, weather is going to be for tomorrow, right? But the implication is the large language model is working on information given to it. But then when Google makes their version of the large language model, when Apple makes their version of the large language model, and they want to integrate that into Google Assistant and or Siri, it is fucking over. Like, you can't use that as an excuse. My whole thing.
But what do you do when you ask your questions about stuff that doesn't have a right or wrong answer?
No, but that's the thing. That's what I was about to say. It's like, if you actually want like factual information, I don't think there's anything we can do about AI. That shit's just it's just the price of progress, as you said. But the thing that you said, and I was going to say that when you were talking about it just like mangles up all the directors, I was going to be like, it's going to need another decade before it can get close to touching something that Tarantino could make, because he feels like so human. It's
but
hard
Tarantino changes.
But
that's crazy thing.
No, but that's the thing. My point is, he changes so much. It's that it has to be human. There is no, you can't convince me of someone making a Tarantino movie that isn't Tarantino, even if it is an AI. But I'm thinking originality has to come, imagination, originality, all of these things have to come from AI. It's only as good as the information that you put in, right? And that's my thing. And that's what movies are. It's like, it's showing us back like the human experience. And I feel like I want to be on the writers and the writers and the actors strike. I want to be on their side entirely. And there's some things that I've heard about that strike, which sounds just fucking insane, right? Like these head of studios that are getting paid like insane amounts of money, and then they're asking if we can have like the background folks image, and then we can use it forever.
For life.
Not for life. Infinity. Until when you die, it's still our image. Yeah. In perpetuity. Crazy. That's the word. It is that shit blows my mind. That shit actually blows my mind. actually blows my mind.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's crazy because two things. What you said about it just learning stuff. Here's the thing. AI still makes mistakes. It's only as good as the data set you give it. And if the data set has issues, which you can't physically check, because by the way, you're taking billions of data points, millions of data points. So, like for instance, if you tell it if the moon is a planet, and it picks from two different sources, where it's like, oh yeah, well in 2018 the moon was classified as a planet, and then in 2019 the moon was not classified as a planet, and it doesn't know which one is more reputable to use. It's gonna it and and this is the key point. It doesn't tell you that this fact is only 60%.
Nope.
Right? It tells you the moon is
a
100% of a planet, and you fucking put that down. That's one thing with AI. That's number one. Then number two, with your Tarantino thing, what's the best thing about humans is they change and evolve. And when you look at best example of Tarantino is you look at Pulp Fiction, which was his breakout. I mean, he'd already done a ton of shit, but breakout LA movie. And then you look at Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's an LA movie too. But you look at them together, and yeah, they're both Tarantino movies, and they both have Tarantino qualities about them. But Pulp Fiction is like, what the fuck?
Yes.
And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is like a slow stew. But it's still like I would say Pulp Fiction is a little bit better, but Once Upon a Time was still a great movie. I enjoyed it so much.
Yes.
But it's a different vibe completely. And that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, fuck AI. What are we doing? So it's like there's a ton of movies now that can be replaced by AI. And that is true. But those are always the movies that you can.
Those are like direct to Netflix. I mean, those are the movies
that you can be replaced with anyone.
Yeah.
So those are the movies where it's like, yeah, we could just hire some fucking Hungarian fucking dude.
So let me ask you this. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because some of those movies I think that can be replaced by AI are literally the most money-making movies, because in my mind, those movies that you can, it's literally, this is the template, just put in the different characters that you want, aka Marvel, aka DCU. No. Like, do you really think that AI couldn't make the next superhero movie?
Here's the thing with that.
Because I think those are the most replaceable.
No, the thing is with those is there's so many corporate interests in those movies that it's like the reason why it comes out like that is for a reason. It's because Marvel's being like, no, you don't understand. You can't. They're telling the screenwriters, you can't make her do this, because in 2 movies we kind of wanted to do this, and then even if that never happens, they tell the screenwriters, no, you can't do that.
They box them in.
You can't go to Earth because in this separate timeline, Tom Holland might be there, and then all this other shit, and then also we got $5 million for Mountain Dew, so you got to go to the fucking
Mountain Dew planet.
You got to get a Mountain Dew truck has to get hit. So it's all this shit where it's like, it sounds like, oh, we're making dog shit movies now. Why don't we just replace it with AI? Well, we're making dog shit movies now on purpose.
All the time. Yeah.
It's on purpose. It's not by accident we're making dog shit movies. We're making them on purpose.
You're gonna have to do a lot more to convince me that an AI couldn't make the next Marvel movie, because I feel like AI works best when it has all of the boundaries. If you have a movie where it's like, give me the creative version of a man, like that's like when you leave it wide open, that's when I feel like you need a human to be there, because human understand human actions. But if you have a situation where it's like, I have 800 different boundaries, make me the best version of a superhero movie that you can. Mumburi, if you told me the last 5 movies that MCU came out with was an AI movie, I would agree. I would say, of course it was. Like, I mean,
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is not like that.
Yes. Every one of them,
except writer.
Yes,
that has a writer that has a vision.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the next.
Let's move on. This is very specific to me because I live here in Colorado, and I have never once in my life been a person to want to watch fucking college sports of any kind. not college basketball,
I knew you were gonna talk about this.
not college football, not any college sport ever. I have never, Mumburi, when I say I have never seen a state, a place, maybe because I haven't lived in Alabama or Oklahoma or fucking Southern California with USC, where all of these big college town, big college places are. You went to UConn, so this is why specifically I wanted to talk to you about this. You have no idea the love, the passion, the change in the fucking vibe. I can't walk down the street without folks wearing CU shirts, people yelling out the Buffaloes. I'm like, who the fuck are the Buffaloes, right? Deion Sanders. I don't think I've seen something as culture changing when it comes to sports, specifically college, as I've seen with Deion Sanders being the new head coach and what he has done in 3 fucking games, Mumburi. 3 games? 3 games? Listen, it's been 3 games. Average ticket price last year, $212. Average ticket price this year, $512. Highest cost to get into a college football game. In 3 games, Deion Sanders has changed the worst football team. Last year they won a single game. Right now they're 3-0.
Well, UConn's still worse. UConn's still worse.
It might be, but I'm just telling you, I have never seen something like this. When I talk about culture changing, especially in nowadays, because back in the day before the internet, where everyone is doing their own version of what's hip, or everyone is in their own like bubble of like, this is cool. Everybody I know, and yes, obviously I lived in Colorado. That's a big part of why I'm talking about it. But it's everyone, Mumburi. It is everyone. People are asking me, have you seen a college football game? I'm like, do you understand what college football is? You've never mentioned college football once in your life. Are you feeling the same thing I am? Or am I just in Colorado and I'm just like inundated with it?
Yeah, no. I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. So here's the crazy thing about Deion Sanders. I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and 2 guys, the guy behind the bar and then 2 guys on the other side of the bar, were all hyped for the opening game, Colorado. And this is the crazy thing. He's turned around an institution so bad, so quick. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing is it's been 3 games.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were supposed to blow out Colorado State, and they didn't. And then they had a 2-way starter, their second or third best player, or however you want to rank
Get injured.
Yep. So they play Oregon this week, and
that's a real game.
They might get blown out. It's 19 versus 10. They might get fucking killed. But he's come crazy far, and he's recruited really fucking well. And here's the thing: I don't think it's gonna stop. So even if this is just a building year, I think he's built enough goodwill that it's gonna go really well for him.
Oh, 100%.
I hope he stays in college, because I don't know if this amount of shock and awe is gonna work in the NFL when people are getting paid $20 million.
No,
but I think in college, I think ultimately if he goes from here to maybe a dog shit SEC school that needs to be revived, and it keeps that trend up, like Colorado maybe this year, next year, and then Texas, or
listen, I do live in Colorado, so I want him to stay for a few years, because like
he's not staying if he kills it, he's not staying.
Well, if he kills it, like the thing, sure, I get it. How long was he at Jackson State?
2 years?
Like 2 years? Yeah. So like, and everyone was mad because he just left right away.
But he then went to the worst school in their division. So
because it's probably because he got the best offer from that school, which would make sense.
Then who would make the best offer next like he's going to SEC, right?
Yeah.
So it's like or maybe I don't know, Penn State's doing good. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you keep reviving giants, what you end up wanting to do is revive the biggest sleeping giant, right?
Going to be the coach of the Browns? What are you thinking his end goal going to be?
I'm saying Texas. If you win Texas a national chip, you in the history books.
100%, 100. And I do see that long term. And I don't know about long term being like in my version, long term is he's 3 years, minimum 3 years here at Colorado. But my thing is with the new, is it called the NIL, NLI, whatever, like the how the players, the college players get paid, that whole
Yeah,
system. And the frequency at which people are
transferred.
transferring schools, it's like the NBA these days. People are like,
Yeah,
I know I signed.
it's
So like
crack for guys like Deion Sanders.
exactly, exactamundo. So I think wherever he goes to, like that first
Yeah,
year might be like, yeah, I'm coming with 6 of my players from the old school, but the year after that, he's going to be inundated with talent, and then it's going to be the great school. It's going to be the best school. And when it comes to that NIL, whatever, if you are a player on a team where the coach is a fucking superstar, it
right.
doesn't matter because you're going to get paid. If you look at it
And
just
you're gonna get
financially,
looks, which is the best thing
exactly,
for you.
exactly. So it's going to be a win-win-win. No matter where he goes, he is going to get this kind of attention and praise. So I think, especially with the new rules with the transferring and the NIL, I think he's going to win wherever. So if he's smart, I think he should just stick with Colorado for a few
Nah, I
years.
think, dude, you don't get that juice very often, and I think while he has that juice, I think maybe maybe he gets a bowl this year, and then next year it's his full recruiting class and he kills it. The year after that, so his third year, I think if you start looking around and you're like, yo, Texas is open, Auburn's open,
Gotcha.
maybe
Okay.
Florida, Florida State. Look, any of these, not Florida State, but
Mm.
any of these fucking giant ass jobs where they're paying you 10, 8 million a year, and it's like it's essentially an NFL job,
Yeah.
but you are
But you're
fucking
still in
part of the
college.
culture. And then you get to it honestly works both ways because it's like at Alabama, it's not like Nick Saban's got to fucking drive up driveways anymore. He
Exactly.
just tells you, I'm at Alabama. You want to go to the NFL? Fucking show up.
Exactly.
And that's the type of
Exactly.
thing where it's like
Exactly.
If Dion can say that,
It's
who is he
over.
getting?
Exactly. Who's not going to
So
want Dion, whatever school Dion is when he is at those top schools, right?
right.
Whatever school he is at, that is going to be the place. That
And
is going to be the number
it's
one
one of those
option.
things where it's like you get there first and then maybe you try the NFL. But
Gotcha.
maybe his ego is so crazy that he's just like, fuck it. I'm gonna fucking go to the fucking Jets and fucking turn that franchise around. That maybe he's like that. But honestly, you need that kind of energy to fucking go to Colorado. So
Yeah.
so you can't blame him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I wanted to talk about. Go ahead.
All right. I got the Ashton Kutcher Miley Kunis
Oh,
backlash
thank God.
from
Thank
the
you for
Danny
bringing that up.
Masterson case. This is one of the things. So let me just read.
Yeah, because I
They
know they're
wrote
in
a
trouble, but I don't know
yeah.
what for.
The couple wrote a letter. They each wrote letters to a judge vouching for their friend and former 70 Show co-host Danny Masterson. In May 2023, Masterson was convicted for planning 2 women with drugs and raping them in the early 2000s. In their character letters, Kunis and Kutcher described Masterson as an older brother figure, a father, a staunchly anti-drug presence who has only been a positive influence in their lives. So this came out after he'd been convicted and he'd been sentenced for 30 years. He got 30 years. Kutcher has he's the chair of the board of Thorn, an anti-human trafficking organization that targets child sex abuse. Kutcher co-founded Thorn with fellow actor Demi Moore in 2009. So this is one of those things where this dude is clearly a piece of shit, And then these guys are like, and so here's the thing: it was like a hung jury the first time, I believe. So then it got delayed another year, and because of COVID, it got delayed too. So this has been going on for a while, but it was one of those things where if a coworker was being like accused of rape by multiple people, would you fucking write a character letter?
So that's what I wanted to ask, right? Because
This is the most insane part, and they have a lot to lose. It's not like you
exactly,
work at 7-Eleven.
exactly, and that's what I wanted to ask because it's like, you know, because 30 years is an insane amount of time. Isn't Bill Cosby out of jail after raping like 50 women? Like, I don't understand. Look, I don't understand these legal definitions, right? These legal situations.
I think a lot of those were outside of the statute of limitations.
Okay,
So I
whatever
don't
the
think
whatever I don't care. My point being, if you are the friend, if you did the 70s show together, they were in the show that ran for 10, 15 years, right? And obviously, this is what every person says. Just because he didn't murder you doesn't mean the motherfucker wasn't a murderer. Just because he didn't rape you doesn't mean he wasn't a rapist. But if you worked with this person and you legitimately had a good time with this person, right? And you never saw anything that made you feel some type of way, but they were a creeper and a fucking rapist with outside folks, then yes, I can understand the want to be like, I've known this person and worked with this person for X amount of years, and there has never been a situation where I felt or thought that he would be capable of X, Y, and Z. But that must be before you see the first trial that was lost and then the second trial that he was convicted of. Because I think, because he lost the first trial and then the second trial he lost again. So then he got the 30, right?
Well, I think most people would just be like, dog, I'm your boy. But this shit is crazy.
But
yeah, and most guys would be like, yeah, this shit is crazy. And it's like, if you're my childhood, it's one thing if you're like my childhood friend and I know you
from the
know your character, and it's like, I will stick with you. That's one thing. But then just say that. Like, I don't believe he's looked me in the face and he's told me he hasn't done it. And I've known him for 40 years. And if he's lied to me, he's broken my fucking heart. But he's told me he hasn't, and I will fucking stick with him. Then that's fucking one thing. But then to just be like, yo, yeah, they asked for a character letter, and I was like,
I was like, yeah, why not? You know, like you do.
Oh, but I'm also the fucking chair of a fucking anti-human trafficking organization that I co-founded. It's like, what are we talking about here?
I love that you bring that up because I felt, when it comes to these criminal situations, it's a whole different level, right? Because I think that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were thinking about it like a job reference, like some, like like I haven't even seen the apology or anything said in the actual letter, so I don't know how much or like goodness they described Mr. Masterson with, but I don't know. They probably get inundated with this kind of stuff all day, every day. And they were like, okay, we'll write a decent letter saying that he was a good person. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this dude's been raping fucking folks left and right. And now I'm over here just right out here. So listen, I want to be mad at Ashton Kutcher and Mila because you're stupid, especially Ashton. You're on a board for anti.
It makes you think that they've done something terrible, and then that someone and Danny was like, "You were there with me in the room, fucking." Like that. That's what it makes it look like, because it's like, who in the right mind would do this? It doesn't even make sense. You're famous. Why would you let this happen?
My main question is, did they write these letters before the first trial or after the first trial? I want to know that, because like, if someone even if it isn't a childhood friend,
but then they would have said that. They would have been like, yo, I wrote this shit when I first heard of the thing. The judges they asked me to fucking send them shit to the judges.
Yeah, you're right.
I didn't know any of the evidence, and I just felt like, it's my guy. I had to back him up. We've known him for 15 years, and I thought this was crazy. I've seen the evidence now and I've changed my mind, but I wrote this before that. That's the easiest thing to fucking say.
That's but they didn't. They apologized because they
were like, nah, bro. We thought we could get away with it, baby. Hollywood.
You're an asshole. No,
but that's how it sounds. And so I got one last story, but why don't you go with your last one?
So my last one was the AI robots at the football game, but I kind of skipped because we spent a lot of time talking about ChatGPT. So why don't you go ahead and then we can wrap this up? I think this is perfect.
My last one is Hasan Minhaj.
Oh, this is perfect. Oh my goodness, thank you, Mumbury. This is why we do what we do together.
Yeah, so all of mine are pretty much media related. So this is the last one that I got, and it was essentially Hasan Minhaj, comedian, a couple of Netflix specials. Homecoming King and The King's Jester, I think.
Did
Was
you
the
see both
two.
of them? Yes or no?
I've seen Homecoming King for sure. I
No, you
think
have
I've
to
seen the
watch the
King.
second one.
I
You
think I've
have to
seen
watch.
King's Jester, but I'm not sure. But essentially, what this issue is, and he had a Netflix show, Patriot Act, which was really good. I watched it. He's in the front. He's in the front runner seat for the New Daily Show. That's when Trevor Noah was leaving, and the New Yorker is doing a whole fucking article on him.
Yep.
And so they asked him a bunch of questions, and he was answering them, and he was into it. And then she started realizing, like, yo, she couldn't fact check almost any of the stories that he was telling her. So it turned from a profile to an expose.
He lost a job, but go ahead.
And what ended up happening was it turned out that he has been lying about almost every huge story in all of his stand-up. And here's the thing, and this is the part that is the distinction. People lie in stand-up all the time. All the time. But he was lying about like shit that's supposed to make you feel bad, like not the funny shit, like the real shit that happened to him. So for an example, Homecoming King ends with him trying to ask a white girl out to homecoming, and in his story, she went out with a white dude after he had asked her, and when he went to the house to pick her up, the white dude was already there, and the parents were like, no, like this isn't happening. We're not going to let this happen. And the girl in real life got like death threats and was accused of being racist because of that story. She's now married to an Indian dude. And she is like, I was never racist. He asked me like super late. I said no, and all this shit. And it's not true at all. He also has a story about how in a mosque in Sacramento, there was an undercover FBI agent in a mosque in Sacramento after 9/11, and that he sussed out the undercover agent and played with him, and was and decided to tell the undercover agent when the undercover agent brought up, like, are any of you guys interested in jihad? He said, yeah, I'm getting my pilot's license. And he got fucking slammed. The cops came in and he got slammed onto like the floor and all this shit. And the New Yorker tracked down that dude. It's all fake. He made up the entire thing. Hasan Minhaj, during the interview, said that it was like an Almond Palmer cocktail of 70% emotional truth and 30% fabrication. And for that story, the emotional truth was that
him
and his boys used to play pickup basketball with some older guys that they thought were cops. That was the emotional truth for the jihad slamming FBI story. So you can see where the issues are coming out of when it's like, yo, this dude is completely full of shit. He said he once in during Patriot Act, he said that like they sent anthrax through the fucking envelope.
No. That wasn't Patriot Act. That's the New York the Jester. That's the one I was thinking about because
King's
that's
Jester, yeah.
Because the King's Jester, because that's the story that I'm a brand new dad, right? So if I was in Hasan Minhaj's place and they sent some fucking anthrax to my house,
right,
and then I was in my house and I was opening this envelope and that shit popped out. Not if you watch his comedy special, and
so you watch it.
That's so exactly. I watched it, and like being a new parent, what you said in the beginning, him lying about the things that make you feel bad, that's when I found out that wasn't true. I was like, fuck this dude. Because like he's carrying your emotion the entire time through that story. So like if that aspect of the story is not true, then I'm like, bro, like it's like it's a different level of, but like at the same time in that story it's not actual anthrax and it's just fucking baking powder, and he goes to the hospital and they're like, you're lucky that it's not anthrax. There's a lot of people that come here that it is actually anthrax, and your kid had it all over its face. So I hear what you're saying. And I
let me
literally
just tell you. Let me
go ahead.
quote the article. During our conversation, Minhaj admitted that his daughter had never been exposed to a white powder, that she had never been hospitalized. He had opened up a letter delivered to her apartment, he said, and it contained some sort of powder. Minhaj had said that he made a joke to his wife saying, "Holy shit, what if this was anthrax?" He said he never told anyone on the show about the letter, despite the fact that there were concerns for his safety at the time, and the Netflix had higher protection for Minhaj. The Brother Eric story, which was the undercover agent, was based on a hard foul he received during a game of pickup basketball in his youth.
Yo, bro, if Minaj could come up with a story based on a hard foul, you and I could come up with a story like the civil
Dog,
rights thing.
what the fuck? It's honestly one of those things where it's like,
bro.
obviously, this is like the lowest of low. Like, I
Can,
really don't give a shit. But it's
can,
also one of those things where it's like
but
you're
why?
making up shit it's not even the funny part of the story.
And
It's just
like,
you're making shit up so people feel bad about you.
and can I tell you? Because the thing I was literally about to compare this entire thing to was Dave Chappelle. But like, you know how Dave Chappelle's special where he gets the banana thrown at him?
Yeah.
That is like, there's actual evidence, but the way he talks about the story is completely false, right? Like the funny part where he's like, "I'm going to tell your mom to suck my dick just so I can have a," obviously that's a fucking joke. And obviously that's not true, but the basis of that story is true. Right. So that's the comparison that I was going to make. But when you're telling me that his version of an FBI person in the Sacramento mosque was a hard foul on a basketball court for someone
That's the
he
emotional
thought
truth.
that he
It's
thought
it's
was
like,
a
then
cop.
you're full of shit. Then you're completely full of shit. Because here's the thing. It's one of those things where it makes no sense unless you're full of shit. Because like you could just tell this. Most comedians just tell stories that what happened to them, and then they embellish shit, like just like everyone else when they're telling stories.
Yeah.
Oh, the dude wasn't fucking 5'10", he was 6'3".
Yeah.
And all this shit, and like all this other shit. You embellish the details, but there's a core nugget of truth somewhere in there. Dave Chappelle has a ton of these stories.
Exactly.
This is like
in one of his specials, he talks about punching a trans person. That's never happened, but there were people at his thing that were fighting and getting. So, like, there's the core of the truth, right? Like, it's just like, I don't know. It's like, how much leeway will you give? But that's such a good question. That's like, this is the perfect question, especially for someone like, I don't know. I don't see myself as a big comedy fan. Like, I really do watch the biggest and like the most talked about stuff, right? There's a couple of comedians, and like, I don't even want to say
you gotta watch the new Shane Gillis special.
Is it worth the watch?
Yeah, watch the new
Bro,
Shane
because
Gillis
I honestly feel like everyone is getting a fucking special. I can't.
No. I
Bro,
haven't
like,
watched the special. I haven't watched. This is the only special I watched this year.
Okay. I will definitely throw it on. In fact, it was something that I like, because I really
the only one I've watched this year.
Because I really do enjoy comedy specials, because it's just the perfect thing, right? But my point being, Mulberry, it's like, especially with Hasan Minhaj, because they are comedians who talk about this stuff, but they make it so generalized where it's not, this is a story about me. Like when Louis C.K. is doing his stand-up comedy, right? He'll talk about what if situations. Why can't Hasan do that?
Yeah, because he's full of shit.
Like Louis C.K. does that so well, right? Jerry Seinfeld does that. Like, he'll talk about like something annoying that happens in his life, and then he'll talk about a what if situation. But to build the tension and like, this is my life story, and this is what my family went through, and this FBI agent followed us to find out that it was a hard foul on a basketball court.
Dude, crazy. And here's the thing, it's like, I still like Hasan Minhaj. That's the thing. I still think he's a funny dude.
And I, honest to God, I'm not gonna lie. I don't watch, what's it called, Trevor Noah show?
Yeah.
What's that show called?
Daily Show.
The Daily Show. Out of all of the people that came by, there's a couple of people that I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Sarah Silverman was pretty good, right? I thought she was pretty good when she subbed in. And I love Hasan Minhaj, but I think Hasan Minhaj by far is like the choice. Like I
Yeah, I
think
think
he
he's
is the
good. That's what I'm
choice.
saying. But I just think this fucking shit this shit is crazy.
It
So
is crazy.
like I'm not
bro.
like lock him up, but I'm just saying like this shit is crazy. He needs to fucking lock this shit in the bud. But I just thought this story was
But the
insane.
question, Maburi,
He's been
is
lying
no. The question is like,
consistently.
what I'm saying is the reason the Daily Show is what it is because Jon Stewart had it. And when Jon Stewart had the show, everyone was like, the most trusted news source was this Comedy Central fucking TV
Right.
show where Jon Stewart was yelling at the fucking TV in the most comedic way possible, right? That was the number one trusted news source in America. And now you're going to give it to this dude who's...
Nah, you can't do it.
Exactly.
Do it.
That's what I'm
Comedy
saying.
Central can't do it.
So the first thing I said when you brought this up was like he lost a job is because he can't have it now. There's
you can't do any news.
Yeah,
it's like Brian Williams. You got to fucking take a back seat. You got to work your way down from the bottom again. So it's one of those things. But
he was right there. He was about to get crowned. This is so fucking tough for him. And like I even want,
but he's not the victim here because there's some people getting death threats for just fucking being in a special. So he's not the victim. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
That's it. That's it.
That was my last one.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, just please listen. This was our first attempt at doing the cultural events. Tell us exactly how you feel in the comment section below. What do you like about it? What do you want to see more of? Tell us what you want to what you want us to talk about next month. Keep us posted. All right. But I'm going to say this again because we need to help us become the place that I think we can one day become. So definitely go to the wherever you find out wherever you listen to podcasts, please go subscribe to us. You will have every review, every cultural event, every book review. It will be all there. You don't have to be on YouTube. You don't have to deal with the fucking ads. It's all right there. And please subscribe. But definitely let us know how you felt about this cultural sharing event. And we'll see you with the cultural events next month, but we'll see you next week with another movie review, Millennial Classic movie review. Thank you. Deuces.